Thank you all for being here and welcome to FEST. Perhaps you've heard the saying that data is only data unless you have the ability to draw insight and value, truly making it informational. Getting to the information in your data can't happen if you're unable to capture and review it in a way that is sustainable and efficient. Having the ability to access and collect data is the cornerstone of investigations, discovery, and review. Unfortunately, we often see data taken a roundabout way to get it to a review space. We've all had terrible travel experiences, layovers, missed flights, delayed, lost luggage. These things shouldn't happen to your data. The goal is to have your data go from A to B as accurately and as efficiently as possible. In this session, we're going to explore trends that are impacting collection, transfer, preservation, having the right data be actionable, and what success looks like. I'm Frank Perrone, VP of VerQu and Product Management, and responsible for legal hold, collect, and data transfer at Relativity.
My name is Lindsay Lanier. I'm a Director in Product Management for VerQu at Relativity. I'm heavily involved in the development of our core data migration and communication capture products.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kowalczyk. I am a Director of Product Management at Relativity, focused on leading teams responsible for our legal hold and collect functionality.
Hi, I'm Paul Zalewski. I'm a Director of Product Management at Relativity, focused on data transfer.
Firms are faced with constantly expanding communication channels. Forward-facing business units often use various ways to communicate with their clients using platforms that their clients prefer. They do this to stay even or ahead of the competition, and often without the knowledge of the business. Establishing a clear communication strategy for enterprises is critical. Even those companies that decide to adopt a strategy doesn't guarantee success in the world of constant change. The ways we communicate are fundamentally changing at an alarming rate, and it's all discoverable. I personally used over 15 different platforms to interact with clients, partners, and prospects this year alone. Growth of data and communication platforms are increasing and becoming more complex and difficult to manage. New channels, data types are being introduced without the knowledge of enterprise, creating risk exposure, potential data loss, security and compliance issues. Most importantly, not having a communication strategy could potentially put your organization at risk. The good news, it's all collectible. And that's what this team has been working on for the past year and beyond. It's hard to imagine that there's 250 million monthly active team users, over 12 million Slack users, and that the average daily message volume is up over 20% per user. Mass adoption of email took place over 25 years ago. I started with CC Mail, and now it's proliferated with Outlook, Gmail, and a variety of other things happening too. The pace at which people are sharing information and documentation are steadily increasing. When we first started doing archive migrations, the average message size was around 75 KB. Now we see it normally around 150, 250. And in some organizations, we can see it upwards of 300 plus KB. Messages were less than 100 messages per day per user. And now we see that over 200. As collaboration platforms have become vital pathways for communication, especially as many of us continue to work from home for the foreseeable future, these numbers will continue to go up. Today, there is considerable overlap in organizations. These types of numbers of platforms used is continuing to increase. Some financial firms that we work with use over 30 different platforms to communicate with their clients and internally. And we've seen some have over 60, which is amazing. 66% of companies using Teams are also customers of Slack. 91% of businesses use at least 2 platforms, and the average corporation has 3.3 platforms for collaboration in their environment today. And at the end of this, email is not going away. More and more communications are taking place on collaboration platforms and in meetings, further complicating the collection process. The result, more data will be produced and more data will need to be collected and reviewed. Just looking at the chart here, the world is in the midst of information explosion. More than 60 zettabytes of data was created, captured, or copied in the last year alone. And so it goes gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte. That's a lot of data. To put that growth into perspective, the amount of data created over the next 3 years will be more than the data created over the past 30 years. Data management teams and legal must evaluate their plans they have in place for collecting, storing, and analyzing such massive amounts of data. Enterprise communication will continue to shift rapidly. Capturing, transferring, processing various sources and data types is critical and is beginning to follow conversation as it jumps from platform to platform. Perhaps you start with a phone call, respond with an email, send a short message over Slack or Teams or another platform. Then at night after hours, you send a text message. Unfortunately, many teams getting their data from A to B is not a direct route. It can involve having to jump between a variety of tools or even manual collections to get the data that they need. Multiple instances of data transfer, human intervention, risk of data loss, security vulnerabilities can drain considerable time and resources in the process. As data volumes and sources continue to diversify, it will become increasingly difficult, if not impossible, to keep up with traditional approaches to data collection and management. Therefore, getting your data should be as easy as going from A to B. And that is what we are working on to make possible. Relativity is committed to investing and building technology that connects to native and cloud data sources, connects to your archive or system of record, takes data from preservation to action, evolving the data paradigm and from documents to conversations. We're striving to make data transfer simpler. Migrate for a RHEL server to RHEL 1 this year has saved thousands of clicks for users making that transition. Not only transferring the data fast and efficiently, but just an easier use for customers. Reduced need for human intervention and a reduced cost, time, and risk. The world has shifted to collaboration, chat, and short message. And if you're not capturing a full conversation, you're missing the story.
We have identified some of the greatest areas of opportunity, the most critical data transfer points that most affect the efficiency, reliability, and sustainability of getting data into e-discovery, compliance, or investigations workflows. These start at preservation and continue through direct cloud collection, transfers from Relativity server or on-prem archives, and transfers between RelativityOne workspaces. We understand it's not uncommon for you to get urgent requests asking for the seemingly impossible. And of course, it needs to be done yesterday. Here's one such request. Now, of course, preservation keeps the data at point A, which will make it easier if and when you need to move it to point B later. Legal hold is often the tip of the spear in data transfers. Ensuring your ducks are in a row can help put your team in a great position to seamlessly integrate into your larger matter lifecycle. If not prepared, the process can be fraught with challenges, such as manually tracking status of custodians, over-inclusive holds, time lost to inflexible or cumbersome legacy systems, or even the risk of evidence loss. RelativityOne Legal Hold helps to resolve all these challenges and more. Preserve and track critical data with one simple process in the cloud. No longer relying on manual processes to create, send, and track hold emails. Legal Hold provides an easy workflow to manage litigation holds and audit compliance. Its intuitive interface makes it easy to assess litigation risk and track all key data in a single place. Critical first steps in preparing for right-sized data transfers. Make significant strides in mitigating the risk of data loss and the need to overcollect by utilizing Legal Hold's Preserve and Place functionality for Office 365 data. We'll be expanding preservations to many other data sources in the future. And by integrating Legal Hold with your corporate directory, you can add and track custodians automatically, ensuring you always have up-to-date employee data to draw from. Lastly, easily create customizable custodian questionnaires to gather critical information for your matter and save yourself even more time by reusing workflows. Customers who use Legal Hold are consistently impressed with how seamless the process is. These first steps in a matter can play a big role in setting it up for success, driving efficiency and confidence from the outset. Now, as more and more data is created and lives in cloud sources, it becomes increasingly imperative to have a go-to solution to not only preserve that data, but also to collect it for review and analysis. Here, we have a request to bring data in from multiple sources with conversations spanning platforms and involving numerous file types. Traditionally, this might have involved using multiple tools and invite numerous instances of data transfer, human intervention, security risks, review format problems, the list goes on. All of this can build to resource drain, spiraling out of control. This is why we built Relativity Collect to directly bring cloud data into the review space. Collect focuses on the places where business is done, enabling direct collections from Office 365, including Teams, plus Slack and Google Workspace apps. And we're adding new data sources all the time. It's incredibly simple too. Just about anyone on your team can be up and running with direct cloud collections in no time. Dramatically speed up time to truth without all the detours. A process that may have taken days or often weeks can now be done in hours or even minutes. Fully capturing all the subtlety and nuance of short message communications, including edits, attachments, emojis, reactions, and even deleted messages, can make the difference in understanding the complete picture of a matter. Collect automatically converts data from platforms like Teams and Slack to Relativity's short message format, ensuring what you review is as near to the conversation as it happened. Running highly targeted collections and reducing data volumes can pay huge dividends in review in terms of hours spent and resources needed. While Collect is about speeding up and simplifying the process, it is also about improving your confidence that you have collected just what you need.
With Collect by Relativity in charge of bringing in short message data and various file types directly from the applications into Workspace, moving data from a server to cloud instance can involve handling very large quantities of data. Here is an example of a request that a team member may receive. In this case, an ask has been delivered to bring all clients' data from Relativity server to RelativityOne cloud instance. This is asking for a large number of workspaces and significant data volumes to be moved in a matter of days or weeks. In the past, this kind of request may have been fraught with anticipation of lost nights and weekends monitoring progress for failed jobs and required a range of tools, hundreds of clicks, many hours, and numerous opportunities for human error. These challenges are solved for with our new product, Migrate, that offers a direct path from server to cloud. Migrate is a simple and intuitive single tool. It saves users time by eliminating the need for complex workarounds with multiple tools, allowing customers to easily archive, transfer, and restore data. With Migrate, you can move entire workspaces from Relativity server to RelativityOne with just a few clicks and zero headaches. It's flat out faster and simpler. Migrate makes moving to the cloud easier than ever. Gone are the days of failed jobs, hundreds of clicks, and slow processes. Migrate is predictable and reliable. Over 99% of migrations complete according to plan. By leveraging Migrate's streamlined capabilities, you can rest assured, confident that your workspaces are making their way into RelativityOne. In addition, Migrate makes data migration more secure by eliminating multiple tools and the need for excessive data transfers. You can have a peace of mind knowing your data remains safe by never having to leave the Relativity ecosystem. Migrate is the only cloud solution for customers to easily move entire Relativity workspaces from a server to the cloud. We aim to make this process as seamless and simple as possible and insanely fast. It was purpose-built with workspace migration in mind.
As Paul just walked through, migrating data from server to cloud is as easy as it sounds and really should not be overcomplicated. Similarly, accessing and moving large repositories of unstructured data from one archive solution to another has in the past been proven to be tricky. There are very few solutions today that alleviate the burden of getting data directly out of cloud archives like Enterprise Vault and Proofpoint and into review platforms like RelativityOne. Traditionally, an ask like this to move data from an archive to support a time-sensitive investigation would pose significant challenges for teams large and small. The hurdles have been numerous, from multi-step processes, potentially unsecure or under-maintained legacy archives or data transfers, unwanted archiving fees, risks of over-collecting and wasting valuable time in review, and more. Fortunately, there is now a simpler way to handle requests like these. For these challenges, Migrate for Archives was created, and its technology will now augment Migrate. Let me walk through some of the capabilities this will unlock. Having direct access to archives is imperative. Any competent SaaS review platform needs to be able to answer the question of how they plan to directly integrate with troves of unstructured archived user or journal data. With our VerQu technology now augmenting Migrate, there is no longer a need to make special trips to third-party tools or to stage the data. The archive content is immediately ingested into RelativityOne, saving your team time and helping your data remain as secure as possible. Additionally, if an organization is looking to change archives, we would be able to migrate the data for them. Migrate for Archives was created with the end user in mind to facilitate that seamless experience of moving large amounts of data from point A to B. A simple user interface was at the heart of ensuring that most every member of your team can accomplish transfers from archives in just a few clicks. Migrate for Archives helps teams get out of their legacy tools that are not modern enough to handle increasingly diversified data types. What we're able to bring is a seamless and simple transfer process. Soon, Migrate will be able to move data between workspaces on different RelativityOne instances and even from other e-discovery technology providers into RelativityOne. Migrate for Archives' focus is simply to quickly and securely move your most important data into RelativityOne's cloud. In summary here, Migrate for Archives will open up many new capabilities for moving data from point A to B, whether that's on-prem to on-prem, on-prem to cloud, or even out of document management systems, in addition to getting data directly into RelativityOne. We are essentially expanding the purview of Migrate to now address the migration of data generally.
Thanks, Lindsay. By leveraging these RelativityOne tools, our goal is to simplify the lifecycle of matter. Keep preservation simple with Relativity Legal Hold. Keep workforce cloud data collections simple with Relativity Collect. Keep workspace and server migration simple with Relativity Migrate. And of course, keep archive collection simple with Relativity Migrate for Archive. These examples are by no means a comprehensive list of the various things that we're currently working on and the tool sets provided by Relativity. We hope it illustrates how dramatic it can be to streamline the process of getting your data from A to B. So you may ask, how are we making this all possible? As an industry leader, Relativity has an obligation to its customers and the community at large to define innovative ways that data will be moved more quickly and efficiently to establish best practices and set the bar higher. Relativity is committed to investing in building technology that will continue to evolve the data paradigm.
And that's why Relativity is always looking to push the technology further, and why we recently brought VerQu into our company. VerQu's technology offers powerful capabilities across a wide range of collection points, allowing us to bring data directly from A to B, from the source to the review space. This offers numerous critical benefits, including a dramatic increase in the speed of review. VerQu's deep understanding of how to move data will help us transform how the world approaches chat and collaboration data as it becomes more complex and volumes grow, and will enable professionals of all degree of experience and technical proficiency to be off and running on their own in a flash.
VerQu was founded in 2013 when we started as a system integrator. Soon after that, we began to create our own technology with one connector and expanded that to many after that. Now we have over 30 plus archive connectors and 30 plus communication capture content connectors. We met Relativity in early 2015, and that became full circle in 2019, where we began to talk about providing our connectors as service to the Relativity team. There exists a fundamental alignment and a shared mission and vision between VerQu and Relativity to organize data, discover the truth, and act on it. And therefore, in 2020, we came together. Relativity and VerQu complement each other perfectly at a cultural level, functional level, and through the value of our products. With VerQu officially integrated, Relativity customers will be greatly empowered to manage many types of data collections and transfers with a much broader capability. Relativity's SaaS platform now have the ability to do several critical functions better and faster. RelativityOne will now have access to 30 plus different communication sources and 30 plus different cloud connectors to move data to the platform, accelerating innovation and times for emerging data sources to be integrated into the platform in the future. By leveraging Relativity's short message format for these new sources, users will now be able to make more of that data in their native format. This will enable a more intuitive human experience and better use of artificial intelligence to get results more quickly and reduce false positives. VerQu technology will access archives like Proofpoint will now enable Relativity to easily pull content from regulated systems of record. Instead of multiple step process, Relativity can now immediately ingest content stored right into RelativityOne. There are huge implications for how the nature of data and data transfers and collections will be handled going forward. Ryan, I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on how VerQu technology is helping legal holds operate more seamlessly or with greater flexibility.
Yeah, Frank. Think of VerQu as the connectivity layer. It connects RelativityOne to data sources. So one of the first places we've been applying this is in Collect, and we'll be applying it in legal hold soon, specifically to greatly expand the types of data you can preserve in place beyond Office 365. So think Slack, Google Workspace, etc. We are super excited about this. Not only will it improve and streamline your legal hold process, but it will make it faster and easier to collect when it comes time for that.
So following on with that, Ryan, how do you anticipate Workforce Cloud data and in-house relationships to that unstructured data changing in the next few years?
I think 2 words: constant change. Tons of growth in terms of data volume, a variety of formats, et cetera. But also, I do think there will be ebbs and flows throughout. For example, different teams in an organization may experiment with all sorts of different platforms that basically do the same thing. And then the organization as a whole, will often at some point standardize on one for the entire enterprise. So you're going to see that. You're going to see, M&A and other things that are natural in this type of evolutionary process.
Thanks, Ryan. And Lindsay, what are the greatest concerns that you see that teams must deal with when first seeking to perform collections for archives?
Sure. So it greatly depends on the source system of record. Typically, when we're dealing with legacy systems, there are certain measures that we'll take to go in and optimize the application and database servers in order to be able to expedite the filtering and collecting of their archive data. Not all customers maintain their systems, and hence we like to step in and clean things up before getting started. Other concerns may be custodians that have changed their name, moved regionally, just different challenges around entities in general, which we can help manage with our entity management provider. And then with some of the more modern cloud systems, normally all we really need is access to the customer's environment, the filtering criteria, and we can get things moving a lot quicker.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. Paul, quick question for you. What are the trends impacting transfers that we haven't already touched on today should the audience be aware of?
Yeah, Frank, I think it's EU and global regulatory compliance. that restricts and in some cases forces data transfers more and more frequently. We have a very exciting roadmap for Migrate product that I was talking about in this section, and plan to introduce cross-instance workspace migrations for RelativityOne customers.
Great, thanks, Paul. With the integration of VerQ's industry-leading data ingestion capabilities, together we are making every data source even more accessible into RelativityOne, and they just keep on coming. This collaboration will further Relativity's SaaS-based platform of data transfer and collection capabilities. Here are just a few of the collector points that VerQ brings to the table. There are many more, and Relativity is working to bring seamless access to all these data sources directly into RelativityOne's customer's workspace. VerQ is able to accomplish ingestion from all these various sources from a core framework that is designed to load and run connectors in the form of modules and plugins, a very modular architecture, if you would. Customers will now be able to see every Slack, Skype, SMS message, and move in the native format, emoji and all, as easy as A to B. Thanks for spending time with us today. We'd be happy to set up a call if you're interested in seeing our technology in action. Please contact Data Transfers with an S for speed at relativity.com. Again, Data Transfers at relativity.com. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you all again soon. And don't forget to take the session survey.